Hi, Sunny. Hi, everyone. Um,
Hello.
I just want to share that I've found your pointing since I've been in the school just so incredibly revealing. And despite spending decades interested in this kind of work, if you like, this wanting to experience myself, I've never been disciplined. Um, and so doing the regular meditation and getting really keen on looking at what's going on in the mind has been incredibly useful. But there's been another element of it, and that is where emotion is concerned. There's been a lot of repressed emotion here in this life, and over the past few years, it's come up a lot. And recently, there was a big chunk that lasted several months of fear that came up. And at that time, the resting as awareness, resting as the I, um, feels pretty much impossible where a lot of emotion is concerned. It becomes such a total experience. However, there's still the willingness and the effort to want to do that. So there's an inner
Mhm.
yes to wanting to discern and to practice, even though it feels completely fruitless. Everything's out of control. Um, but there is this inner intention to want to practice. And what I found is, I think we're back to surrender, is just saying yes to the extremely unpleasant, full on sensation of this emotion and repressed feelings. And it can feel just completely out of control in the times it's happening. And then it's not a linear thing. And then it seems to dissolve.
Mhm.
This extreme discomfort. It's almost like something says, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just not going to engage in the thoughts and the thinking that seems to fuel all this that I have done all my life. And it's not an individual I that makes that decision, but it's almost like consciousness as a whole says, right, we're done with this. No, it could all return. But you know what? So what? So there's this energetics. There's a refusal to be locked into that really contracted, suffering energetics. And then things fall away, become transparent, and then this very sweet spaciousness opens up. So I just wanted to share that, just another
Yeah,
thing going on here.
beautiful. That is essentially what Holly just mentioned as well, where the answer is just always, it always comes down to just total surrender. And it never happens more strongly than in these types of experiences where there is a lot of emotion and difficulty, and there's nothing you feel like you can do about it. And you feel like you're maybe even deeply struggling to practice. Even underneath that experience is a total surrender, right? Like a sort of like, as you said, like a willingness or like a yes, that something is less and less engaged in even the fight to change that experience or suffering the fact that maybe you cannot practice in that experience. Like now there's just that layer starting to reveal itself. In these types of experiences, for anybody who goes through them with this practice, for sure, I think the surrender teaching is the greatest thing we can employ, because surrender is not really even when in these types of experience, surrender is no longer even a practice you're doing or an action you're taking. It is just like the only option left, and something that is actually like there already, rather than something you're making happen, right? It's hard to talk about
Yeah.
it. It's hard to talk about it for sure. And it may not even help. Like that's the funny part about it, that it, like, even when you're acknowledging that, it may not even help. Even when you're sort of like noticing that inner yes or that willingness or total surrender, it may not even help. It may not change anything.
Yeah,
And that's the whole point of it. Like that is why it's called surrender. It's not a scheme. It's not a
exactly.
yeah.
It's not a business deal we're doing.
Yeah. So that's sort of like revealing our true nature, because the scheming one, the manipulating one that is also trying to practice surrender in order to ease the experience or get pleasure is now being exposed within us. So, yes, it may not make any difference in that experience, but it is, quote unquote, leaving us wiser when something like that happens. And then you see that, hey, even these types of experiences need to happen for me to realize these things. So it's like they're also not wrong experiences. Even experiences where you act emotionally or maybe even hurt someone else by accident, like, or just suffer. Like, we feel like these types of experiences should not be happening on our spiritual path or that they are a hindrance. But actually, no, they're not. They always leave us wiser.
Yeah, we need to be with everything that is human, every dark corner needs to be met.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it lurks. There's always a sense of, I hope this doesn't happen. I mean,
Yes.
interestingly, the external triggers for this fear, it's been an issue for many, many years, a medical thing. Um, I'm there's now this just yes to meeting these situations, and I can't find any fear around it, whereas before it was just sheer terror. Who knows? I mean,
Mhm.
anything could unfold, but that's where it is at the moment, which is really good because um, there's a yes that needs to be said to having certain things
Yeah.
done to help my health, and that yes is there, and just relaxed about it.
The teaching that really helped me in this regard is from the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, "Consider me your only protector." He says, "Abandon all external supports and look to me for protection." This really helped me and continues to help me because anything, like whenever it is our like deepest insecurities and fears and resistances to like potential possibilities and whatnot, we feel like we will be incapable of handling such experiences, or we really don't want them to happen because we don't know how things will unfold and whatnot. So I hear all external supports fail because no matter how much money you may have in your bank account, no matter how many like possessions and how great of a person you are and what like how confident you may be or how many people you have in your corner, like none of that stuff matters when it comes to these. Your only protection, where the only thing that can help you actually have the courage and willingness to be totally surrendered and experience whatever may come, is like you relying on God or higher
Absolutely.
power, just total surrender. So that has helped me greatly. For anybody that would find it valuable. But yeah, also that reminder that like, hey, you don't have it within you, to get through it or make something happen or like handle things. You have to, like, your mental intelligence is not capable of it. You have to rely on something greater. You have to step outside of yourself. And so that's what the surrender practice really does for us. It completely humbles us, and it really dissolves our pride, our arrogance, our ignorance. And for that, these types of experiences are necessary. These types of fears and things. So they're also helping us. They're not bad.
Is getting familiar with the unknown, because this relying on God or the self is not a thing. That it's not a thing
Mhm.
that we can hang on to. It is this inner yes again. It's just yes, here I am.
Yeah. And so that's also a natural shift that starts to take place when you start to, uh, when the love of truth starts to develop, or love of God starts to develop. Almost like that is a higher purpose than anything else you can do, achieve, or avoid here in the experience. And so that brings that inner yes, I think, more strongly, where you are willing to accept what is and willing to experience what may come, is because now your gaze is set on something that this experience cannot offer you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Sunny.
Thanks for that. So the surrender teaching also has these two levels. One where, right, so as we discussed earlier, like, sometimes it seems like a paradox. The surrender teaching does have that, the subtler component where you are noticing that your true nature is total allowance, total willingness to experience whatever may come and go. But it also has that personal component where you, the person, acknowledging your own limitations, surrender yourself to the higher power, which is your very own self, your very own source. And it does not create duality, it dissolves it. It dissolves the ignorance that projects a boundary between you and God. Through practice, it starts to reveal to us that I am that. I am that which is being surrendered to. Yet on the surface level, it can appear as prayer. It can appear as giving myself over, um, and relying solely on its protection. So we can practice surrender in both ways.